Hello, guys. This is Mrs. Rogers, and I'll be gone for a couple of days. And so I'm trying to go ahead and start our circulatory unit. And so, what we're going to do, you can sort of see looking at the plan book what we'll be covering this week. We're going to start with today talking about the three main areas covered in the circulatory system. They're considered the blood vessels, which include arteries, veins, and capillaries. The heart, we'll take a look at the heart structure and heart physiology, and the other component is blood and the components of blood. So to begin with, this week we're going to be learning about the structure of the heart, focusing on the structure of the heart and the pathway of blood through the heart. So what I'd like for us to do first is just do a fun facts. So if you will stop the video and on the plan book, take that quiz, fun facts about the circulatory system. So go ahead and stop the video now and take that. Once you're finished, go ahead and start the video and we'll continue. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to stop it and learn a little bit about the circulatory system through the fun facts. You should have a sheet that looks like, let's see. I'm still learning here. That looks like this. It's blurry, I know. But if you'll take a minute, and I'm going to have you read through it here in just a little bit. It goes through the blood vessels, goes through the blood, and goes through the structure of the heart and the pathway of the heart. So go ahead and take a minute and read through that. Once you're finished, go ahead and stop the video and read it, and then start it once you're finished. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance now to take a look at that. We are going to go ahead and start sort of the lecture. So on the heart, let me go ahead and get a big slideshow. On the heart is located within the thoracic cavity in the cavity called the mediastinum, which is between the two pleural cavities that contain both of the lungs. The base of the heart is actually the superior portion of it, and that's because it's at its widest, so they consider that the base. And the apex, they consider down here the inferior part, which comes to the point. It tapers to a point. It gives you a little bit of specifics. It's 3.5 inches wide on average and weighs about 10 ounces. Okay, again, the heart is made up of muscle tissue, just like skeletal muscle tissue, but this is cardiac tissue. Cardiac tissue has a lot of the striations, just like skeletal does, and it has these intercalated discs here, and that allows the cells to talk to each other, and that's the reason why the heart itself is involuntary and can beat on its own. It can be taken even outside of the body and continues to beat. So looking at the chambers, there are 4 chambered. It's a 4-chambered heart. There are 2 upper chambers called the right atrium and the left atrium, and 2 lower chambers called the right ventricle and the left ventricle. So those are the main 4 chambers, and it's really important to know where those chambers are at. So the upper chambers are called atria or atrium, and they are smaller, and they again are on the superior portion up near the base of the heart. The 2 lower chambers are called ventricles, and the left ventricle is the largest chamber of the heart because it does the mass of producing enough power to push blood throughout the body. It says here, due to the predominant size of the left ventricle, it is not surprising that 70% of all myocardial infarctions, which again is a heart attack, occur within that left ventricle. The atrium, if you can remember, like an atrium to a building or to a home, that's usually called the entrance hall, and so blood enters the heart through those atrium. And ventricle is Latin for little belly, and they are just sort of in the lower chambers, and they fill with blood, and then they contract to push the blood to the rest of the body. If you'll go ahead and stop this video, and there is Heart Basics 101 link on the daily planner, go ahead and watch that. It lasts about 2 to 3 minutes, but it gives you sort of an overall perspective of the heart. So go ahead and stop the video and watch it. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to watch that video now. We're going to go ahead and continue with the lecture. So here is the heart, and as you can see here, there are 4 main chambers. This upper chamber. Oh, hello. Yes, he's at surgery. He's in surgery. Sorry about that. I had a little little entrance here. So this is the right atrium, and this is the left atrium, and that's where blood will enter from the body, and this is where blood enters from the lungs. Here is the lower chambers, the ventricle. This is the right ventricle, and this is the left ventricle. So those are the 4 main chambers, and there's also, you can see 4 main valves. This is a valve here. This is called the right AV valve. And it separates the right atrium from the left ventricle, or excuse me, right atrium from the right ventricle. And this is a semilunar valve. This is called the pulmonary semilunar valve, and it separates the right ventricle from the pulmonary artery. Here's the pulmonary artery, and that's the artery that blood is going away from the heart, so it's deoxygenated, and it is heading to the lungs. Now, it is an artery. Most arteries carry oxygenated blood. It is the only artery that is deoxygenated. It will go to the lungs through this pulmonary artery and return to the heart from the lungs through these things here called the pulmonary veins, which is P and E. And the blood enters the left atrium here. The valve is here. This is called the left AV valve. There is also another name for it that I'll cover here in just a second, but it's left AV because it's between the atrial and the ventricle, so it's the left AV valve. And then there is a 4th valve over here, and it's called the aortic semilunar valve, and it separates the left ventricle from the aorta. So 4 chambers and 4 valves. There is another name for these right and left AV valves. They are called the tricuspids or the bicuspids. I always remember it. You have to try things before you buy them. And so this valve here, the right AV, is also called the tricuspid because you try it before you buy it. The left AV valve is called the bicuspid valve because we've already tried it, now we're going to buy it. So this is the bicuspid, this is the tricuspid. So hopefully that was as unconfusing as possible, but if you remember 4 chambers, 4 valves. Once you know those components, then you are ready to start looking at the arteries and the veins and looking at the pathway. So this shows you a labeled heart. So if you'll go ahead and stop this video and go ahead and use this to help label your heart worksheet. And I think that'll be it for today.